My name is Micah Coleman, and I am doing my presentation on the short story Anyone Can Do It, which was published in the Best American Short Stories of 2019. It was written by Manuel Munoz and is set in the 1980s in California, about a woman named Delfina who has just moved from Texas to California and is worrying about money. She realizes that her husband, just like every other woman on the street, will not be coming home tonight because he has been taken in an immigration raid from the field where he works. Her neighbor Lise sees her outside of her house and comes over to talk to Delfina. She asks her about the prices in Texas, especially the fuel, if they have been rising just like they have in California, and tells her about the lonely old man who lived in Delfina's house previously, but most importantly, asks Delfina, who has the only car around, if she wants to take it to the fields and pick peaches to pick up some extra cash, knowing that their husbands won't be coming home soon. However, Delfina turns Lise down as she is a little skeptical of her and worried that her car will be taken, learning that sometimes the cars in the fields get impounded. So the next morning, Delfina and her son Kiki walk to town. She wants to call her family and ask if they will send her some money. However, her family, upset that she left, will not send her any money. As she is leaving, she realizes that her son has stolen a little toy car. However, she does not make him return it because he is very upset, so she decides to pick up ice cream on their way out of town, but she realizes that this is frivolous spending and will be out of money soon. So when she returns home, she tells her neighbor Lise that she has changed her mind and would like to go to the fields to make some money. Lise tells Delfina she knows the field foreman, so she is able to pick up 2 rows of peaches for her and Delfina to pick. They spend all morning working hard picking peaches and walking them back to the truck. At noon, Lise takes a load of peaches to the truck and takes the keys to the car to get the lunch out of the cooler packed in Delfina's car. However, Delfina begins to notice the silence in the field and realizes that Lise isn't coming back. She walks back through the field to the truck to find out her car is gone. Lise has taken it and both of their daily wages and left Delfina at the field. However, the owner is very kind, and he gives Delfina a ride back home, as well as giving her $20 to buy food for her and her son for supper. When she returns home, Kiki is waiting for her on the steps, and Lisa's daughter, who was watching him, is gone, and Delfina is only worried about how her husband will react when he learns about the stolen car. Formally analyzing the story, you can see the symbolism in both of the stolen cars. They both symbolize power. Delfina experiences this power when she is trying to get her son to leave the store. Kiki was distressed and in tears. "Ya, Delfina said, calming him, and fished what was in his pocket, a little green car, metal and surprisingly heavy. Her little boy was inconsolable, and the Saturday shoppers along the sidewalk stopped to look in their direction. So allowing him to keep the stolen car is the only power she has over him to get him out of the store without causing too much of a scene. And for Lise, the power came from being able to leave the situation she was in. She was able to take the money and take her daughter and go away from this place where her husband would probably not be coming back. So the stolen cars are both symbolizing the power in leaving where they are." Psychologically analyzing the story, we can kind of see why Lise might have stolen Delfina's car. Lise would have been grieving the loss of her husband, knowing that he probably wasn't coming back after the immigration raid. She may have been in the 3rd stage of grief, which is bargaining, where you might find yourself creating a lot of what if and if only statements in your mind, where you feel a lot of intense emotion and want to feel in control again, or at least regain the control you thought you had. So Lise might have been thinking, what if I can't take care of my daughter? And if only I could do something to take care of her. These thoughts might have been so strong that they would have motivated her to steal Delfina's car. Because Socrates says, no one knowingly commits an evil action. Evil is turned into good in the mind, and the good would have been for her daughter. There is also research on women's brains physically changing after giving birth and becoming mothers. There is a decrease in the amount of gray matter in the brain, while the amount of white matter stays the same. This is pruning away of anything that the brain thinks is unnecessary for caring for a child, and helps the woman better understand the needs and emotions of their children. Delphina even knows that Lise holds this characteristic when she realizes that Lise's daughter is not out helping her, but inside the cool of the house, and she took this as a sign of the same propensity for sacrifice that she believed herself to hold. And so this can also help you to see why Lise would have stolen Delphina's car in order to care for her daughter in this new way. The story can also be analyzed sociologically. A lack of money is a large concern for every person in Delphina's neighborhood. Delphina does splurge on an ice cream cone for her son. However, this does make her realize that it is unnecessary and that she needs to go help Lise working in the fields. And also, everyone pays for their rent on a month-by-month basis, and they all know that they are going to work their whole lives until they are no longer capable. And the culture for these non-white immigrant workers was that every day the husband would leave for the fields. He would work hard from the very beginning of the day before the sun even rose, and they would stay clear through the entire day doing the same manual labor over and over. When they would come home from the fields, though, they would stop at the local restaurant and buy beer and drink it all together. And the remaining money they would give towards their family and the mother who had stayed home all day cooking and caring for the children. There was not much camaraderie and get-togethers between the households because many of the illegal immigrants didn't want to get too close to their neighbors in fear that they might give them away. And during this time, there were a lot of political actions taking place, including one in 1986 by Ronald Reagan called the Immigration Reform Act. This act included 2 amnesty programs for unauthorized aliens and collectively granted amnesty to more than 3 million illegal immigrants. However, the act also included more enforcement of immigration policy, and this would have been the cause of many of the immigrants' uneasiness and discontent. Overall, this would have been a very tough time for the immigrants, men and women alike. They would have experienced a lot of fear and poverty, and you can see why they would have taken every opportunity to make their lives better. It is unsure whether Delphina's husband would have returned from the fields. However, we do know how much she loves her son and would do anything to care for him.